most famous physical therapist on the internet.
Hi folks, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
And this is the unknown spine, isn't it, Brad?
Right, and we have, this has been very helpful. So let's go ahead
Let's
and
talk
use
about
it
what
again.
the topic of today, Brad, is anterior pelvic tilt. We get a lot of questions on this, and I'm always surprised at that, to be honest with you. But how to tell if you have an anterior pelvic tilt and how to fix it.
Sure.
And there's also kind of a big surprise in this video, Brad,
okay,
about the anterior tilt.
Don't tell them right away.
Oh, I won't. Okay, so what is an anterior tilt, pelvic tilt? Here's the pelvis on somebody. You know, this is someone, he's facing Brad right now.
This way, yep.
And as you look at the pelvis, I'm going to come up towards you, Lonnie. Tell me, right about there. Brad, do you want to show where the two bony landmarks are?
Okay, you got the ASIS, this bony spot here, which you can feel right there.
Anterior superior iliac spine, we call it ASIS.
Right, and then the PSIS, that's back here, which you feel back here, and therapists and chiropractors and everyone else in the medical field that work with us, those are landmarks that we know quite dearly.
Right, and that's the posterior superior iliac spine, PSIS.
Very good, Bob.
All right, so ideally, you want those two to kind of line up and be level.
Right.
Correct, Brad?
Right.
So what I did, Brad, is I took my belt, and I'm going to put my belt right over my ASIS.
Yep.
And here's my PSIS.
Yep.
So how does that look, Brad? Am I fairly level?
Yeah, Bob, you're pretty level, all right.
Okay.
Actually, you got a little bit of a posterior
Posterior
line
right now?
That may be the belt or
Yeah,
but so,
I'm not quite, right about there is where I'd be.
And we're, yep, that looks good, Bob.
Okay.
I think you're level.
So an anterior tilt is when I go like this.
Yes.
The front bone is dropping down. This is the posterior tilt. The
Correct.
backbone is going down.
Right.
So if you're showing on the pelvis, this is rotating this way,
Anterior.
and it's rotating the other way for the posterior.
Right.
And I think the concern with the anterior tilt is that you're jamming your facets together, right? You're jamming your back together.
And
People think that's bad.
Causing stress and creating pain. And I think this is a little controversial from, you know, therapist to therapist or different disciplines. So.
Well, this is my source. I have a good friend, Dennis Zaharko, who wrote a textbook, and I'll put the name of the textbook down below. Dennis Zaharko.
Zaharko, that's quite a name.
Kind of one of the texts on posture.
Sure.
And he kind of blew this all out of the water. Very few people have an anterior pelvic tilt. I've known one. He was one of my instructors.
Okay. This is a surprise you were talking
about. Yeah, this is the surprise. Most people either don't have an anterior tilt, or they might even be a little bit posterior.
There's something else that maybe makes it appear that way.
Right, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. And a lot of times people see that anterior tilt when they're standing.
Sure.
And this is a typical standing posture that a lot of people have.
Oh, Bob, there's one thing, you know, now that we let the surprise out, we're going to explain it. There's a lot of people out there that haven't watched our videos before.
Oh, that's right. They're new to our channel.
Right, so we're going to continue to give you secrets like this, surprises, good ones that are going to help you stay pain-free, active, mobile, and vibrant.
And we upload every day.
Right here, Bob.
Oh, yeah, the subscriber button's right over here. So.
Okay.
All right, enough selling. Huh?
You bet. Let's go back to this.
All right, so the average person, or a lot of people, sit with a posture like this, but they also stand with a posture that's similar to this. Now, normally, if you have a plumb line, it should go through your shoulder, your hip.
Here, we'll use one.
Yeah, there we go. If you have pretty good posture, it's going to go through your shoulder, your hip, and through, is it through the front of the knee? I think it's right through the kneecap, isn't it?
Right. Well, we're not going to get too detailed.
Yeah.
We got to be upright and
But
tall.
most people are like this, Brad.
Yeah.
They're locking their knees, their hips are thrust forward, and their hips are locked into extension.
Right.
They're rounded out. They're also rounded out here, Brad, the thoracic area, and they're like this.
It's just
head forward.
Poor posture.
Yep. This is typical posture, and when people see this, especially, like, give me a little bit of a belly here, Brad, or let's say I'm pregnant. They see this and they think that my back is hyperextended, or it's got an anterior tilt.
Right, because the relationship to the two, so it makes you appear like the anterior tilt, but really it's...
But if you look at this, Brad, this is completely level, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, I'm leaning back like this. I'm not like this. This is what would be an anterior tilt.
Really exaggerate that.
But they're leaning back like this, so it looks like you have an anterior tilt, and you don't.
Sure.
So this is the problem, because what happens is you're going to start giving you some pain in your mid-back. And the thing about mid-back pain, you don't feel it in your mid-back. You feel it in your low back.
Sure.
A lot of times pain, refers. Do you mind turning around just real quick, Brad?
Oh, sure.
Pain, or a problem here usually manifests itself by giving you pain here. Pain in your low back will often go either in the low back and into the butt.
Right.
So a lot of people are surprised. They go, I got low back pain and it's here. And I'll start looking up here right away, Brad, because that's usually quite often where it is. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to correct your posture, especially your standing posture, Brad.
So what's a good way to work?
Here's some of the tips, Brad. First off, don't stand with your knees locked. Always keep your knees a slight little bit of a bend. Okay.
So if you stagger your stance a little bit, that can help?
Yep, that's the second thing you want to do is you want to stagger your stance. You're going to put one foot slightly in front of the other.
It's kind of hard to see with the pants on.
Yeah, but just the staggering the stance is going to help too with you doing what is correct.
Sure.
So you're going to start off and you're kind of leaning back. I'm leaning back on this foot, Brad.
Right.
And I'm still kind of leaning forward. Then I'm moving all this forward like this.
Sure.
This all moves forward. So when you stand normally, you want to have, the weight is on the middle of your foot, Brad, but as you can see, my shoulders are a little bit slightly ahead of my hips.
Sure, yep.
And if you just do this.
It's a big difference from what we looked at before.
As you can see, I go from this to this. And now I have good posture, Brad.
Sure.
And it doesn't take much. I don't want you sticking your chest out like this. You're just bringing your weight forward.
Okay.
The other thing you can do is a little bit of a chin tuck, Brad.
Yep.
Yeah, because if you're like this, I want you to be like this, so you're going to be lined up.
Now, if you're used to the old posture that's poor and giving you pain, and you do this, it's going to feel very awkward.
Right.
And you're going to think, why am I doing this? It doesn't feel anywhere near right. It's because you got a bad habit.
But look, which way do I look better, Brad?
Right. Well, that's a heck of a question.
Yeah.
You don't look better any direction.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'm not a good example, but what is Lonnie laughing about on this one? That's what our camera woman's laughing at. So we're going to lean forward like this.
Yep.
And while you're doing stuff throughout the day, Brad, I am conscious about staying a little bit weight forward because it helps you put things in alignment. So and there's a couple exercises you can also do, Brad, to help you with this. One thing I like to, if you want to get a little more awareness of where your pelvis is at, Brad, just the simple pelvic tilt is good for that.
Sure.
So
laying on your back.
Yeah, laying on my back. You want to kind of show, Brad, what we're...
It's your tie, Bob.
Yeah.
We got to keep track of that. There.
So you can see the red there.
Right there we got it. Now go ahead and do a posterior tilt.
So I'm going like this. What I'm doing is I'm tightening my stomach, and if I had my hand underneath here, underneath my spine, I'd squish the hand.
Right.
Good
abdominals.
Yeah, I'm tightening up the abdominals, and that's just help pulling it. Gives you more awareness of where the pelvis is at.
Sure.
And does a little bit of abdominal strengthening.
Yep, and usually that feels kind of good for a lot of people in their back.
Right, gets in a little bit of movement. Then you can go into some abdominal strengthening, Brad, because that's going to help.
You bet.
So you can do toe taps, where you're just going like this.
There we go. While your back is
flat. Yep.
That's the hard part on this one.
And then you can do some more advanced ones, Brad, where you're actually doing fluttering.
That's a big step forward.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit harder.
Maybe you could do just
single leg
going.
That may be a good progression.
Kind of pushing out like that.
Yep. Again, right under here, he's holding that flat, and I'm telling you, that's not easy to do.
Right. And so you're tightening up and getting into that manner.
Sure.
So, all right. Another exercise you can do, Brad, is actually one thing that a lot of people, because they stand like this a lot, they're lacking extension in the mid-back.
Sure.
They're rounded out here, so they need to stretch the mid-back out, the thoracic area. And so one thing we like to do is we like to do what we call hallelujah stretches.
I don't call it the hallelujah stretch, what Bob does.
I just like it.
It's a good term.
So what you're doing, and do you want to get that ball, Brad? Remember that worked out really good.
Oh yeah, that does work out good.
You can do this with a towel or with if you have a chair that hits you right below the shoulder blades, it works out good.
You can take a towel roll like this, tape it up, and get it in the right spot.
And then you can just stretch back like this.
Yeah, so you can see that. Go ahead, do it again, Bob.
So my idea is, you're going, hallelujah.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes. One more time.
Hallelujah. Talk to me. Okay.
The other thing you can do is take a ball about this diameter and you put that back there, and this all depends on if it feels good. But a lot of people find that
this
comfortable.
actually is more comfortable than the towel, Brad.
And it works more on that back. I like this idea, and we've been using it on some patients. One of my PTAs came up with it.
Yeah.
And Mike did, you know, as far as I know, he could be the inventor.
So we'll give him credit.
You better believe it.
I think that's enough, Brad. I think that's enough techniques for people to, so I guess our long answer is that you probably don't have an anterior pelvic tilt. It's pretty rare.
Right.
And that you need to correct your posture.
Right, and if we're going to spend time on it, we should probably spend more time on that broken heart.
Oh, that's right. Brad and I can fix just about anything except for a broken heart.
heart.
We probably break a lot of hearts. Thanks for watching.